All right, y'all. So we all know Miami's looking good right now. Especially they gave my team, Lake Show baby, but they gave us a good fight, forcing us to a game 6 after being down 3-1. And things are really looking up for Miami, considering they are a very good spot for next free agency. They are in the Giannis sweepstakes as soon as he enters the 2021 free agency. So basically what I'm going to be talking about here is what is next for the Miami Heat, not only for this season but in the future, where they can be finals contenders or even NBA champions for all that matter. So we all know this 2020 free agency class is weak sauce, and yeah, but no, seriously, the 2020 free agency class, if you look at the names right here, unless you're the New York Knicks, which they'd be pretty stupid to give anyone a max deal, well, because it's the Knicks. But none of these players in this year's free agency class, unlike last year's, none of them scream out superstar or max deal worthy. At best, a lot of them are under $90 million players, and even then that's a little too much for some of these players. But some of the things that other NBA YouTubers like Rusty Buckets have provided, that some of these trades actually might go crazy this offseason. Because we had the virus that stopped the season, so it pretty much delayed the offseason. We should be having the NBA season right about now, but I guess things happen for a reason. But it's going to be really interesting to see what trades are proposed right now, because so far we have the James Harden rumors and more recently Drew Holiday rumors, and as y'all can see here, I put him on the Miami Heat in this game, which I will get to in a second. And then you also have Chris Paul rumors and Derrick Rose rumors, and basically every other piece that is a missing piece for any other franchise. But we are talking about the Miami Heat, so we'll keep it that way. So despite all the Karens that flood out there, Miami is a pretty attractive destination for star free agents. I mean, back in 2010, Pat Riley and D Wade and Eric Spoelstra at the time were able to convince LeBron James, yo man, sign with us. And that's what he eventually did. And again, they are in the Giannis sweepstakes, so they are trying to not compromise that future. So I'm going to be talking about some potential signings and trades that will keep Miami competitive and will end up working out for them in the end as soon as they hit the 2021 offseason. For one, I'm going to be talking about big man depth. So last year in the finals, they obviously got cooked by Anthony Davis and to a certain extent Dwight Howard. And Bam Adebayo was basically almost locked down by either of the two. And because of the fact that Bam got in foul trouble, their reserve bigs were pretty solid on offense, but were pretty trash at defense. Kelly Olynyk is a pretty good offensive player, can space the floor, but he's not that amazing of a defender. Myers Leonard is a tad bit better on defense, but even then, he is not that great of a defender. He can also space the floor, but again, not a great defender. So if they really want to be a more defensive-oriented team and get bigs that can really help out Bam, not only in this upcoming season but in the near future, I can imagine them signing a guy like Tristan Thompson, Derek Favors, or even Serge Ibaka. Those are my top 3 big men for the Miami Heat. These guys can not only rebound, but they are pretty solid defenders as well, and when Bam gets into foul trouble, it won't be the end of the world for the Miami Heat, considering every time Bam was in foul trouble, the Miami Heat were basically in trouble at that point. I think the final series against the Lakers proved that pretty well, and to a certain extent, the series against the Celtics, where Bam was in foul trouble and they were able to exploit that. Plus, in the finals, Jay Crowder was guarding Anthony Davis, so more reason to sign guys like Ibaka or Tristan or Derek Favors. Or they could even trade for a guy like Bobby Portis, who played with Jimmy Butler on the Chicago Bulls. Bobby Portis brings out a lot of energy and can really space the floor, and he is a really good defender. So if Bam gets into foul trouble against a guy like Anthony Davis again, Bobby Portis can be there to not only give you instant offense, but really help you out on the defensive end as well. Obviously, their wing depth is very important. As we saw earlier in the regular season before the shutdown and the restart and the playoffs, they had really solid wings. Lemon Pepper Lou. But no, seriously, they had really solid wingmen like Jay Crowder and Andre Iguodala. They played really well for them. Obviously, if I'm the Miami Heat, I would re-sign Jay Crowder. That kid is a rough rider, and he can space the floor, and he is a complementary piece to play alongside Jimmy Butler. And having him and Iguodala on the team can really help your team's defense, as they proved here. And it really takes a lot of defensive pressure off of Jimmy Butler. Anyways, that part of my video was short because the wing depth I don't think they're really too worried about, considering they have Jimmy, Andre, and Jay. Again, I really do hope they resign Jay Crowder because he was really vital to their defense, as well as Iguodala. But this is the part of my video I was going to get into. And these 2-3 scenarios, I guess you can say 3 scenarios, are dependent on Goran Dragic leaving. So let's get into that part. Rusty Buckets made a video on the offseason trades that both conferences should make. He mentioned Dennis Schroder to the Miami Heat. Dennis Schroder is not on that big of a contract. I'm going to check his contract right now. But getting him on the team would not only give him a really good point guard, but can give the bench some instant offense. For example, he could be the Lou Williams of the Miami Heat. Alright, so I checked Dennis Schroder's contract, and he only has $15 million left on the deal he signed with Atlanta. So getting Dennis Schroder would not hurt the Miami Heat because of that amount of money, and also taking the fact in consideration that they are going to get a $125 million boost in cap space. Obviously, some of that will be affected because of the pandemic. Plus, Dennis Schroder is, I believe, 26 years old, so getting a point guard with fresher legs who can do half or at least 75% of the things that Dragic provided to this team can be really beneficial to the Miami Heat. In terms of free agency signings and signing a guard for a pretty good deal, I would suggest that the Miami Heat should sign someone like Avery Bradley, who ironically played on my team, and then he had to step out due to him taking care of his son throughout the pandemic. And Alex Caruso stepped up big in his absence, alongside Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and obviously Danny Green was a straight brick show. Yeah, as some of y'all can tell, my next video is going to be about my team, the LA Lakers, and what's next for them. But signing a guard like Avery Bradley would kind of be of a downgrade on offense, because Avery is not that great of a dribbler. He is a not that great playmaker, but he can definitely make plays. But again, he is another solid guard and wing defender. He can guard 1 through 3, and like Jay Crowder and Andre Iguodala, Avery can really take a lot of defensive pressure off of Jimmy Butler because of his peskiness and his physicality at only 6'2". A few things Avery can do that is passable enough for the Miami Heat on offense is he can cut to the rim, he can spot for threes, and he can take pull-up mid-range shots. I've seen his highlights with both the Clippers and the Lakers where he has done exactly that. Miami could really benefit off of a guy like Avery because Tyler Hero is an okay defender. He's not that great, and they could use a defensive weapon in the backcourt, considering Dragic is old and not a good defender. They don't have Josh Richardson, and Tyler Hero is, again, not that great of a defender. So having Avery Bradley on the team can really help the guard spots in terms of defense. And considering he's played with Jay Crowder, assuming Jay Crowder resigns with this team, Avery not only has chemistry with him, but he would fit well with Miami's culture. And if Miami is sold on getting Avery Bradley, they could sign him for around $8-9 million to even $10 million for 2 years with a player option within those 2 years. And then the final scenario, I think this is my favorite one because I imagine this in 2K, which is trading for Drew Holiday. Ramen accidentally. As some of y'all should know by now, Shams reported that the New Orleans Pelicans are looking to trade Drew Holiday to Contender, which sparked up a lot of trade rumors of him going to either LA team, the Bucks, the Nuggets, the Mavericks, the Brooklyn Nets, or maybe the Toronto Raptors. But I think a sleeper team that I really want them to see get Drew Holiday is the Miami Heat. Drew Holiday has $25 million left in his deal, which any team can really absorb that salary without trying to risk their cap space. And it's all dependent on the deal too. So I went to Trade NBA, which is obviously NBA trade machine, and I made a 3-team deal involving the Pelicans, the Miami Heat, and the Memphis Grizzlies. But hear me out on this. The Miami Heat get Drew Holiday, the Pelicans get Kendrick Nunn, the Grizzlies get KZ Opala, the Pelicans get Marko Guduric from the Memphis Grizzlies, while the Grizzlies get Darius Miller, along with the 2022 first-round draft pick. Now, it may seem like a bad trade, and I probably wouldn't blame you for thinking that, but Miami not only gets an upgrade from Goran Dragic, again, depending on if Goran Dragic leaves, the Pelicans get Drew Holiday's contracts off the books, and Darius Miller, as well as I think KZ Opala in that trade, are just salary dumps for the Memphis Grizzlies, and the same can be said with the New Orleans Pelicans. Even though they get a nice player in Kendrick Nunn, Marko Guduric, I have no idea who he is, so I can just say he's salary filler because I don't tune into the Memphis Grizzlies that much unless they play the Lakers. This move would be huge for the Miami Heat if Goran Dragic leaves, because you not only get an upgrade, you get a defensive dog in Drew Holiday, considering you already have defensive dogs like Andre Iguodala and Jay Crowder. Drew Holiday would not only help out the Heat's offense, but just like Avery Bradley, Drew can provide defense to the backcourt, which is what they need, which would take pressure off of Jimmy Butler from guarding the 1s and 2s of, let's say, the Golden State Warriors. You have a guy like Drew Holiday that can help take care of that, while Tyler Hero can guard, let's say, Klay Thompson, and Drew Holiday can guard Steph. Now, that's an example of what Drew Holiday can do defensively. Offensively, Drew Holiday is a very volume scorer, and he's not that bad of a shooter. He can also put the ball on the deck and really put the ball in the basket, and he can do pretty much everything that Dragic and Nunn does, which is obviously he's an upgrade from those two, as well, again, providing defense to the backcourt, which is what Miami needs. Again, those are scenarios in which Goran Dragic leaves. Would I think Dragic would stay? For the culture, and considering he's been a fan favorite for Miami, he probably should. But if they do let him go, getting Dennis Schroder, Drew Holiday, and or signing Avery Bradley will be a very solid replacement for Dragic. I forgot to mention this. I think Miami could go after a guy like Danilo Gallinari, another guy like Schroder and Holiday. He can really put the ball on the deck and put the ball in the basket. Again, that would take pressure off of Miami's offense with Jimmy Butler, so that way Jimmy Butler doesn't have to chuck up as many shots and put the ball on the deck in order to score. Having Gallo on the team can really boost Miami's offense. And finally, in 2021, sign Giannis effing Antetokounmpo. That's it. Basically, if I'm the Miami front office, I would want to keep it competitive for the next upcoming season, signing a solid big man like Serge Ibaka, Tristan Thompson, Bobby Portis, or Derek Favors, and then depending on if Dragic leaves, get Dennis Schroder or Drew Holiday via trade, and maybe get Avery Bradley to help your backcourt defense in that aspect, and maybe get a bucket getter like Danilo Gallinari. And it can only go up from here, as I do believe Giannis will sign with the Miami Heat in the 2021 offseason. And this is a crazy team, man, and I do believe they are a team to beat. So that's it for me. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you all enjoy me doing these 2K talks, let me know so I can do more in the future. My next video will be about what's next for the Lakers. So stay classy, stay humble. This is X. Deuces.